Hello. So this is the first time I've used my camera on my phone, so that's why I gave it. I didn't know if we were going yet. Um, just wanted to let you know I have hardwood floors. If you hear a little clicky clacking stuff, that's my dog. I'm sorry about that. Um, but so I'm going to do my final paper on end of life care, and this has become this has always been kind of of interest to me, but it's become of further interest to me because I started doing my apprenticeship for my MDiv program at a level 1 trauma hospital in Portland, Oregon, and I have seen some stuff. So that's kind of why I chose it. So with Dr. Koenig's recommendations on books, because I was like, I have no idea where to start this, and so he gave some suggestions for books, and I picked a couple of them based on what I thought I would find in them, and I wanted to come at it from a medical and ethical standpoint, as well as from a what do we believe as the church standpoint. So the one for the medical ethical standpoint is by Abigail, I'm assuming it's Ryan, and it's called Is God Still at the Bedside? Medical, Ethical, and Pastoral Issues of Death and Dying. And then the two for the church viewpoint would be The Art of Dying by Rob Moll and Speaking of Dying, Recovering the Church's Voice in the Face of Death. That's by Fred Craddock and Dale and Joy Goldsmith. And I was very interested in the second one of those because in what I have seen in death and dying scenarios in the hospital is that the family tends to fall to the hospital's discretion a lot of the time until like a chaplain is brought in, and then they're like, oh wait, we have some options of like how to stay with the person who is dying, and that kind of a thing. So it's kind of like reclaiming a Christian presence in the face of secular clinical setting. So those are the kind of the reasons why I picked those books. I have not done a lot of research yet because I, again, in my apprenticeship as well as taking 2 classes. But I have been consciously observing in the hospital for this class, and a lot of questions that I have they just keep coming up. When do we as Christians consider end of life? When do we think about, or how do we think about stopping sustaining measures of life? When do we just move to comfort care? Is that a good thing in the church? Is this something they would have dealt with back in the first century? Is there scripture to speak to it? About like what, how long did people live in biblical times, and what were the expectations like maybe in church history on that kind of thing. A big thing in the Pacific Northwest is what do we think about physician assisted suicide? If the care, like I wrote in my initial post that we did for like the top 3 topics we were going to do, and this got approved. It was, I was kind of like, well, when my dog gets put down, and then she will be put down, unless she dies peacefully or gets hit by a car, but we're gonna put our dog down, and it's probably gonna be based on my dog's like on the couch looking at me, but sorry, baby, but it's just like when that happens, I'm going to look at it from a standpoint of how much pain she's in, but we will go above and beyond to keep somebody alive because they're like our loved one or whatever. But does that mean, like, are we actually showing them that we love them because we're keeping them alive, even though they're in extreme pain, especially when you have like stuff like cancer or burn victims and stuff like that? And it's just like, I treat my dog more humanely than that we are allowed to treat human beings. So those are the kinds of the thoughts that are going on in my head. And we are the only level 1 burn center as well, in the Pacific Northwest down to Sacramento. So that's been interesting as well. And just seeing people go through that and like, how do we deal with that kind of dying when it's just excruciating pain? Like, how do we feel about DNRs and like all that kind of stuff? So there's a little bit of the questions that are going through my head, and if you guys could help me pare them down a little bit, that would be great. Or what maybe you guys would want to hear a little bit more about. All right, well, that's about it. I'm a little bit over. Sorry about that. All right, bye.